in the end.
Have you ever had that one game that just gave you quite a rush, an adrenaline rush unlike any other? Well, some FPS games have done that for me over the years, the big one being Quake 2, one of the greatest FPS games not just of its time, but of all time. It's fast, it's fluid, it has a hard rockin' soundtrack, and I got sucked into it so much that I beat the original campaign in one sitting in 4 hours on my first playthrough. Now imagine if you took Quake 2, mixed it with some of the aesthetics of Hotline Miami, mostly the music and some of the late 80s vibes, and have most of the aesthetics made up of inspiration, so from classic 80s and 90s anime. That is the idea behind today's game. Alessandro Martinello had previously worked on a game called Torrent at Swordtails, but he later left to find his own studio in Hammer 95 Studios. He came up with the idea of the game during the pandemic after seeing an influx of modern boomer shooters like Warhammer Boltgun. He wanted to mix that classic anime aesthetic with the hectic nature of said boomer shooters, games that harken back to classic shooters of the 90s like Quake 2. Thus, Mullet MadJack was born. Developed by Hammer 95 Studios and published by Epopia Games, this game released on PC via Steam and GOG on May 15, 2024. An Xbox One and On version released on March 13, 2025, and a Nintendo Switch version released on April 30, 2026. This was on sale on my birthday this year, so I decided to pick it up, after having been introduced to it by G-Man Lives. I don't know why it took me so long to get to this, because hot damn, this game is quite a rush in all the right ways. Mullet MadJack takes place in the far-off year of 2095. Rogue billionaires have taken over the world. To make matters worse, man and internet merges into a new being. As such, humans now need dopamine every 15 seconds or else they die. If you've ever seen the Jason Statham movie Crank, it's kind of like that. Our main character is Jack Banhammer. He's a stream moderator who gets hired by Peace Corp. His goal is to rescue the influencer princess. She's being held hostage by one of the top rogue billionaires in Mr. Bullet, who literally has a bullet for a head. The first moderator who rescues her wins a nice new pair of sneakers. Oh, did I mention this is all being live streamed? Because of course it is. Ultimately, Jack must climb the tower to the top floor, floor 82, and rescue the influencer princess. Mullet MadJack is a first-person shooter. You'll move throughout the various floors, killing every robot in your sight. You'll have to keep killing them, because, well, remember that dopamine thing I mentioned earlier? Well, you are on a time limit as a result. Not a large fixed amount of time, but it's 15 seconds at the lowest setting. It can go down as low as 10 on other difficulties. Every kill you make increases the time, but it can't go higher than 10. If it counts down to 0, you have to go back to the start of the last checkpoint. Typically, the floors are set up in increments of 10, so if you die at 15, you'll go back to floor 12, for example. 11 if you don't skip the tutorial. You will have a variety of weapons at your disposal. You start with a revolver, but you can also get katanas, a submachine gun, a plasma gun, a rifle, a railgun, and my personal favorite, the shotgun. Each weapon can be upgraded at some point. After you complete a floor, you'll be given a chance to get one upgrade at a time. From different weapons to certain types of kills giving you an extra second bonus, there are plenty of upgrades that can save your ass on later floors, which get more difficult. There will also eventually be floor hazards, like acid, and those will require you to dash over them to avoid getting hurt. And anytime you get hurt, you will also lose time. When you beat a boss, there are permanent powers that will make playing the game a little easier on future playthroughs, as when you die or beat a boss, you will lose your upgrade. Weapons can be upgraded once you get the permanent power to upgrade them, up to 3, and they each have their own upgrades. A shotgun, for example, you can reload even on a full clip up to a few times, and the shot you fire will be more powerful. The upgrades stay with your save file, even on higher level difficulty replays. Other things to be mindful of are chain locked doors that have to be shot when you need to open them, and you can gain time by drinking soda from vending machines in addition to kills. You can either shoot it or kick enemies into it. Oh, did I mention you can kick enemies? It's fun to do. You can kick them into fans, machines, other objects, including barrels that can explode upon shots, or kicked enemies, and you can get additional seconds for these kinds of kills. You can also pick up melee things and use them for instant kills against an enemy one time to get a lot of time back. All of this builds up to create a shooter that, rather than taking time to rest, you're always on the move. It's not necessarily about being the fastest, it's about mastering the game's mechanics and being ready for anything that comes your way, so you can go with the flow and adjust as need be. If you can, you won't have to worry about time. You'll just go through taking everyone out and you'll be done with a floor like that. That's where the rush comes in, and it's an intense but fun feeling. It may seem like a traditional FPS game on the surface, but it has a different flow to it compared to Quake 2 and others like it. Not to mention it controls damn well with a keyboard and mouse. I really don't have much else to say here. It's very straightforward, everything is laid out properly, and yeah. That's not the only other thing that helps Mullet MadJack stand out. The game has a very unique graphical aesthetic. The game on the whole has this cyberpunk retroware look to it, all wrapped up in 80s/90s anime gift wrapping. Dare I even say vaporwave. You see a lot of cyberpunk influence in the robot enemies, the UI, when it pulls up to the congratulations screen. It just oozes that look all throughout. It also manages to capture the retro-futuristic feeling very perfectly. The cyberpunk part plays for the future, but the way the retro stuff is handled really reminds me of Hotline Miami. Now, it doesn't have some of the creepy horror stuff that Hotline Miami got into at several points, but it doesn't need to here. This game has its own unique presentation, and I love it. I also really like how, despite all the hectic action that goes on, and believe me, it gets especially hectic, the game manages to keep a steady frame rate throughout. The system requirements aren't that high, and the game is well optimized. On the whole, I couldn't really break the graphics down any better if I tried to. It just looks awesome. Not from a technical POV necessarily, but an aesthetical POV. That's what really matters the most. There's heart behind it all. There's also heart in the sound design of Mullet MadJack, and a lot of it at that. You can tell instantly from the title screen / menu music. I mean, listen to this and tell me it doesn't make you feel some type of way. This is the purest example of I'll press start when I want to. The synths, the saxophone, the drums, everything blends so well here that it makes you feel like you're in the Vice City. In general, the whole game has this synthetic techno ordeal going on. This is probably the one thing that it and Hotline Miami are fairly matched on, the music. I'm all for it. The music fits the action very well, but it also works well outside of the game. That's how you know you've got a winner of a soundtrack. The sound effects are also pretty good. You might not be able to tell since the action can get so hectic, which leads to things sounding cluttered. But, for the most part, things do sound good. For things like kicks into various objects, explosions, slashes, gun sounds, they all sound good. There's also decent variety for when objects are used to kill. I don't have much to add here. The voice acting here is very good. The main highlight here is Daryl Carrillo as the main character. Despite getting up there in age, he still manages to give a strong performance here. It's pure action hero goodness, and I love it. It's nice to see, though, that despite being screwed by Sega for Yongye as Kiryu for no good reason, he can still get good work and do a good job. And everyone else also does good for that matter. But once you beat the main game, you can go back and replay it on a higher difficulty. You also have Endless Mode, which lets you keep playing until you lose. There are variants here. Weapon Roulette has your weapons change at random on each floor. Happy Foot takes away the guns. Sniper Rush lets you take down as many enemies as possible with the sniper, seen at the end of the third chapter of the game. And Boss Rush has you take down all the bosses in a row as fast as possible. Mullet MadJack is a very unique game, both gameplay and aesthetic-wise. The game especially plays so smoothly, handles a lot of the action very well, has a rockin' soundtrack, good voice acting, vibes unlike anything else, and this is just such a easy game to not only look at, but it's pleasing to play. However, it can get too hectic at times. The higher difficulties will really get your blood boiling, especially if you do the one life option that if you die, you go all the way back to the beginning. Some of the sound effect design can be too cluttered, and one may think of it as a cheap dopamine rush, but the plot does explain why it is that way. Still, these are only really minor complaints and don't detract from the overall experience. Mullet MadJack is only $20, and it's absolutely worth it at that price. I really hope to cosplay the main character one day. I love this game that much, and give Mullet MadJack a 4.5 out of 5. This has become one of my favorite indie games, especially of the boomer shooter variety. Go check it out. Thanks for watching. Click subscribe below and check out the playlist on screen for more content. To help support the show beyond the usual means, check out my Patreon and Ko-fi on the link tree in the description. And come by my Twitch where I conquer my backlog one game at a time. See you in the next video!